Let's face it, life doesn't always feel like a curated Instagram reel or a beautifully lit TikTok morning routine. Sometimes it feels more like a chaotic blooper reel, uncut, unedited, and slightly embarrassing. It's easy to wake up, look around, and feel like everything has gone sideways. Like somehow things veered off track while no one was paying attention. And in that moment, the question surfaces. Whose life is this, anyway? It's a hard truth, but a necessary one. The life someone is living is often a reflection of the choices they've made. Not entirely, of course. There are external factors, unexpected challenges, painful curveballs that no one sees coming. But even within that chaos, a person's decisions still shape the path ahead. The good news? That same truth holds the key to transformation. When life feels overwhelming, unsatisfying, or just plain stuck, the solution isn't always some big, dramatic overhaul. In fact, real change usually doesn't start with a crash diet, a cross-country move, or quitting a job on a whim. Real, lasting change starts with one simple, brave choice. Not necessarily the kind that gets applause or attention. Often, it's the quiet kind of choice. The one that happens in the early morning or late at night when no one's watching. The decision to do something better, kinder, or wiser than yesterday. One small pivot in a better direction. For some people, that change begins financially. Maybe they're living paycheck to paycheck, feeling buried under debt, and wondering how it got to this point. Then, a decision is made to finally sit down and look at the budget. Not to be overwhelmed by it, but to understand it. Maybe it starts by signing up for a financial class, just like the ones offered by Dave Ramsey or similar programs. At first, it may feel awkward, uncomfortable, even intimidating. But that single step unlocks clarity. It's the beginning of learning how to manage money instead of being managed by it. Soon, that small decision builds momentum. Spending habits shift, debt gets tackled, savings start to grow, anxiety over bills lessens, confidence builds, and suddenly, life doesn't feel quite so heavy anymore. It's not magic, it's momentum, and momentum begins with one brave decision. People choose every day. From the second they wake up, choices are being made. What to wear, what to eat, how to speak to loved ones, what thoughts to dwell on, and what actions to take. Each moment holds the opportunity to decide differently, to choose growth instead of comfort, gratitude instead of grumbling, action instead of avoidance. It's easy to feel trapped in circumstances. Many do. They feel stuck in a job they hate, a relationship that's lost its spark, a mindset filled with fear or regret. But even in those stuck places, there is usually at least one thing that can be chosen, whether it's a new thought, a different response, or a fresh perspective. Changing the world is hard. Changing a choice, that's manageable. And choosing better doesn't require a perfect track record. Everyone has made questionable decisions. Everyone has taken wrong turns, ignored red flags, or made impulse choices they later regretted. It's part of the human experience, but no one is defined by their worst mistake. They are defined by what they do next. There's a kind of quiet power in saying, "That wasn't my best, but I get to choose again." That is the beginning of growth. Some of the most transformational people in the world didn't become that way because they never failed. They became who they are because they refused to stay down after failing. They made new choices, built new habits, and kept showing up, especially when it was inconvenient or unpopular. Because, let's be honest, motivation is overrated. Motivation is fickle. It's that friend who says they'll help you move, but disappears when it's time to carry boxes. It shows up when things are exciting and leaves the moment things get hard. What truly creates change is commitment. The commitment to keep choosing better, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. This kind of commitment doesn't rely on mood. It relies on vision, on values, on the understanding that discipline, not motivation, builds momentum. And that momentum can transform an entire life. There will be days when better choices feel impossible. Days when the couch is more tempting than the treadmill. Days when social media scrolling is easier than facing real life. But even on those days, a choice can be made. A decision, however small, that honors the person one wants to become rather than the person they've been settling for. And sometimes that starts with giving oneself permission. So many people are waiting for a sign, waiting for validation. waiting for someone to tell them they're allowed to change. But here's the truth. No one's coming to hand out permission slips. The only person who can give permission is the one in the mirror. The permission to want more, to let go of what's familiar but unfulfilling, to step outside the comfort zone and into something better, even if it feels scary at first. That fear, that discomfort, it's not a warning, it's a sign of growth. Choosing better doesn't always feel good at first. In fact, it can feel deeply uncomfortable. It may require breaking habits, disappointing others, or challenging long-held beliefs. But discomfort is not danger. It's the birthplace of change. And change, when built on small, daily decisions, creates real freedom. Start drinking more water and energy improves. Get to bed earlier and mornings become less frantic. Budget spending and financial pressure decreases. Speak with kindness and relationships soften. One good choice starts stacking on another, and suddenly things start to shift. No, life won't be perfect. It'll still be messy. It'll be better. Each brave decision contributes to a future that feels more intentional and less accidental. It becomes a life crafted on purpose, rather than one survived out of habit. People often wonder, when will things finally get better? The answer is simple, even if it's not easy. Things get better when better choices are made, one at a time, over and over. It's not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. And it's important to remember, there's no such thing as a perfect decision. Only better ones, smarter ones, healthier ones, kinder ones. And the beauty of being human is that there's always another chance to choose again. Even now, even today. Some might ask, what's the point? I've tried before, and I keep falling back into old patterns. But the point isn't perfection. The point is persistence. Progress isn't a straight line. It loops, it spirals, it backtracks. But forward is forward, even if it's slow, even if it's messy, even if it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And each step, each new choice, is progress. There's something beautiful about people who decide to change not because they hate who they are, but because they believe in who they can become. That belief is the beginning of everything. So if life feels heavy right now, if things feel chaotic, or boring, or stagnant, it may be time to pause and reflect, not in judgment, but in curiosity. Ask, what choices am I making every day that are keeping me stuck? Then ask, what could I choose instead? The answers won't always be easy, but they'll always be worth it. Because the truth is this, no one else is coming to build the life you want. That's on you. That's your gift and your responsibility. And that's a good thing, because it means you're never truly stuck. As long as you can think, speak, act, or imagine, you can choose, you can shift, you can grow. The future is not set in stone. It's shaped moment by moment by the choices made today. So the real question isn't, can things change? The real question is, what are you willing to choose today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow? Maybe it's something small, drinking a glass of water instead of soda, going to bed 30 minutes earlier, setting a boundary, writing in a journal, apologizing, forgiving, making a phone call, signing up for a class, logging off social media, cooking a real meal, saying no to something toxic, saying yes to something healing. Whatever it is, start there. Then choose again and again. Before long, those small choices won't feel small anymore. They'll become a rhythm, a lifestyle, a new normal. And that new normal, that's what builds a better life. A life that doesn't feel like a mess. A life that feels like it fits. That feels lighter, brighter, more peaceful, more joyful. Not perfect, but intentional, purposeful, yours. So if today feels heavy, if life feels overwhelming, if everything feels like too much, take a breath, then make one small, brave choice. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when it's convenient. Right now, choose better, choose on purpose, choose with love. And when in doubt, ask this: what would the happiest, healthiest, strongest version of me do right now? Then do that, even if it feels awkward, even if it feels scary, even if it's uncomfortable. Because that version of you, the best version, is waiting. And every brave choice you make brings you closer. Your life is worth the effort. Your future is worth the energy. And you are worth the transformation. So, go choose again. Thanks for listening to Positivity Perks, where encouragement meets action and daily choices shape brighter tomorrows. If this message resonated with you, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily motivation, and drop a comment below sharing your next brave choice. And remember, one decision, one shift, one moment of courage can change everything. Until next time, stay positive, stay strong, and keep choosing the life you actually want to live.